this way. Make for that mansion.
Video games are great. They are fun. They are amazing. But there are so many of them. We now have at least 30 years, probably more, of quality gaming history behind us. So there lies the question, which games are worth playing today and which should maybe stay in our fond memories. In this series I will try to help you decide if the game is worth your time or should you just watch a playthrough on YouTube. So, anyway.
Resident Evil
HD Remaster. Is it worth your time? Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. But you must like survival horror games and you must be a person that appreciates atmosphere more than gameplay or top tier graphics. So, this game is a remaster of the first Resident Evil game that came out in 1996, and it's great. Even though Resident Evil series have been very kind to us in the last years releasing wonderful games.
What was that?
No, not you, Resident Evil 3. The remaster of the first game is still one of the best Resident Evil games, if not even the best. Why? Even though this game lacks the evil method energy of the Baker family or the dread of Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 Remake, or the character model of Lady D in Resident Evil 8, this is still one of the most effective survival horror games I have played.
Poisonous.
Poisonous? Richard, hold on.
The overall feel of this game is almost perfect, the ambient sound design working together with fixed camera angles, claustrophobic room design, and masterful pacing of the game creates a wonderful, slowly creeping feeling of dread that is only amplified by the realization, shit, I don't have enough bullets, and there is no dodge button. It's just a scary game, especially if you play it for the first time. So for the overall atmosphere, I will give this game 5 Jill heads out of 5. When compared to all of the rest mainline Resident Evil games, this has probably the best puzzle aspect. While the puzzles as such are not hard, the mansion, the central area of the game in itself, is a puzzle, as you have to navigate through it looking for doors, keys and items that could offer you a new progression path. This is refreshing and interesting, as later Resident Evil games tend to become more linear, with progression paths most of the time clearly marked or at least heavily implied. But Resident Evil HD Remaster makes you think and crisscross all over the mansion using trial and error method, and that again adds to the horror experience, as you really don't want to move around too much, because dodging zombies and other baddies is hard, and it drains your resources that are quite scarce, of course. It must be noted that other areas that branch off the mansion are way more linear, and some parts gave me the feeling that backtracking is there just to expand the game's length. So, 4 Jill heads out of 5. The gameplay could be one of those things that might frighten off some of the players, especially those who did not grow up with the classical tank control fixed camera angle games of PS1 era. The remaster offers you to choose between tank controls and somewhat modern movement system, and while that is a welcome addition, the modern controls, and actually the old ones as well, don't always work so well with the fixed camera angles, and sometimes you will be in the middle of a hallway walking one direction when the camera angle will shift and you will get confused and walk the other way. As for the combat, it's the classic static Resident Evil and survival horror thing. You press one button to aim and the other to swing or shoot. You can't move while shooting. Is that good or bad? You decide. The weapon variety is not that big as in later Resident Evil games, but we have our classics: knife, handgun, magnum, shotgun, grenade launcher, and some other stuff. One thing I must note I don't like in the older Resident Evil games, not just this one but others, is how weak the handgun and the knife is. They are there just so you wouldn't have to run around empty-handed, but overall they won't be of a huge help in the long run. I think the later games got the balance of the starting weapons nailed down better and improved upon by adding the possibility to upgrade them even more. Boss battles in Resident Evil HD Remaster are more of a puzzle obstacle than tentacled bullet sponges the series is known for. Sure, there are some bosses you need to actually shoot, but if you have prepared and saved up ammo for the stronger weapons, then these fights will last less than a minute. So, like the overall mansion design, the challenge lies in knowing what to do and when to come armed. And that is an important gameplay aspect, inventory management, especially if you are playing as Chris. He has only 6 slots while Jill has 8. So the first couple of times playing this game you will be backtracking from an objective to an item box a lot. So overall, the gameplay is a classic Resident Evil style affair, and you got to respect the classic, so 3.5 heads out of 5. In the graphics department there is not much to talk about, it's just an older game with pretty decent character models and quite great enemy design. They did a great job remastering the PS1 game and updating everything to a modern standard that looks pretty okay even now. So yeah, there's nothing particularly exciting, but nothing to hate either. Jill looks great, and that is great. 4 heads. Well, this is a Resident Evil game. While this is a way more straightforward horror zombie infected mad scientist mansion story than later games, there still are some interesting twists here and there. And if you really want to dig deep into the story, then there will be some interesting lore tidbits and some real character drama. But, of course, it's a Resident Evil game, so then there's this.
Is that voice Enrico's?
Yeah.
You're alive.
Stop. Are you with anybody, Jill?
No, but why?
The stars are finished. Someone is a traitor. Umbrella set us up.
Enrico! Traitor? Who?
And Barry is a piece of shit.
I'll stay and secure our escape route.
Barry!
Overall, the story was there, so 3 heads out of 5.
Jill, you're alive.
And finally I want to leave with some even more subjective impressions. When I played this game for the first time, which was just recently, I was shocked how scary the game is. There is not a crazy meathead swamp man chasing you around, there are no mutated rocket launcher wielding hentai monsters, but this game is scary because it lacks those things. The music, the camera, the clunky movement, the tight corridors are what make this game really unsettling. You never know what is just beyond your camera's view. And I love it. The first time I started to play, I was very careful because I knew that this is a survival horror classic and that means that I need to conserve my ammo and health. But as this game does not offer you any dodge mechanics and makes you backtrack a lot, I soon started to get annoyed with the zombies and I started blasting. So what I didn't do was burn them. I knew that they can come back, but I assumed that it will be like 1 or 2 zombies, but hell no. Almost all of them turned around 3 hours in, and I was kinda a bit stuck because mansion was filled with crimson heads, I was out of healing items and I did not know where to go next. So I just restarted the game, and everything I did in 3 hours before that took me maybe an hour, plus I did not kill zombies, and those few that I killed, I burned. And I really enjoy the aspect of these older games where you can actually fuck up so bad that you have, in a sense, soft-locked yourself. It adds to the experience of survival horror. Restarting game in this case is good, it's interesting. Resources are scarce and you have to really think about almost every move you make, and that adds to the overall experience. So, is this game worth playing? My answer stands Heck yes. So go on and become a Jill sandwich you were always meant to be.